Good afternoon, everybody. This is Anne. Thank you for being on with us today. Chair O'Neill, April has told us that we have a quorum present, so we can start when you're ready.
Let's see, we sometimes have folks, we sometimes have to call them just to remind them. It's like, nice. So we gotta, I guess we're not here there. We'll take them at their word that they, for whatever reason, aren't with us. Kind of weird. All right, well, welcome everyone. We haven't been together for a while. We're here today. Everyone has received the agenda. We have two, we need to like to call the meeting to order. And just for the roll call, if members would introduce themselves. I'm Michael O'Neill.
Stephanie Bowles here.
Riley
John
Hanson.
Roush. Whoops, sorry. Hi, Riley.
Hey, John.
And go ahead, Riley.
Riley Hanson.
Ellie and Ann.
I'm Ellie Ray. I'm senior planner with the city.
Ann Pichette, I am the housing coordinator.
Yes.
And April Sparks is coordinating our meeting for us today. Thank you, April. First on the agenda is approval of minutes from August 2023. First question is, does anyone remember August 2023?
Hardly.
I don't know. Do we have, I have to,
Would you like me to pull up the draft Merriman?
yeah, pull up
Minutes?
those minutes
Okay.
if you would. That'd be great.
Just give me a moment and I'll share my screen, Chair.
I don't know if we have those.
Chair O'Neill, is everyone able to see the draft minutes on their screen right now?
Can you make it, move it up a little bit, move your whole, yeah, let's just move it that way and then people can see it, but it's a little, you're not using the top of your screen, okay.
Did I scroll too far?
I'll start from the top and then go down so people can see it, okay. So.
Makes me want to go back in my calendar and figure out where I was because I didn't get to that meeting.
It was August. So, all righty. Can we entertain a motion to adopt those minutes?
I'll bring a motion to adopt.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor of adopting the August 2023 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Those opposed, the same. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Okay. We have on our next on our agenda are two regular items. One is a request for modification from United Housing Partners related to their Twin Creeks presentation. Ann, will you be presenting this? Or has everyone had a chance to? Go ahead.
Pardon me. I was just going to let you know that we do have both Tyson and Seth available
Okay.
on the call, and they should both be allowed to speak now, if I did it right. Yes, April has pulled up their letter here, and we did get the underwriting back from NeighborWorks, which you can scroll through too, if you all didn't have a chance to look at it.
So do we want to, Tyson and Seth, would you like to just provide a little summary presentation of the changes in the project? Since we last saw it, there's been some real positive significant changes in terms of the increased number of units, but then also the financial challenges you're facing related to the request you're making today.
Yep, sure, Michael, I'd be happy to do that. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
I don't think you can see me, and I'm not sure if you need to or not. I could, let's see that I can turn on my camera, but I do want to share. April or Ann, do you mind if I could share something?
So we'll have to take a second here, Tyson, and promote you to a panelist to share anything or to start your camera.
Okay, that would be
Typically,
great if you
board
could,
members.
yeah, if you could do that.
Again, I think it would be useful to summarize what's in our packets so that we're keeping to the materials that have been distributed as well.
Perfect. Okay. So what's in the packets? Essentially, I'll just summarize this in layman's terms, and then I'll answer any questions that you have. We have been working on this project, as you know, for well over a year. One of the first soft sources that we secured was the housing trust funds from Helena, which we're grateful for. And that springboarded us up to a number of other soft sources that we were allowed to, or that we were able to secure. And then ultimately we got our low-income housing tax credits in October, which made the project feasible. During the time, or from the time we applied for the Helena Housing Trust Funds to now, the project has grown significantly, which is good. You alluded to that, Michael. I think it was 45 units when we first applied. And I remember in talking with, I think it was even before Ann was with the city, and talking with Ellie, well, one of the things she had said is another developer or partner in experience, and they said these never look exactly the way that they first come in. And typically in the current environment that we've been in for the last few years, they usually get smaller. So, you know, it usually starts at 45 and you end up at 43 or 42 because of budget issues and whatnot. Well, here we were lucky because the legislature passed House Bill 819, and it had a large amount of funding for coal trust loans, which, for those of you who don't know, it takes money out of the coal trust, which is this very prized possession that the state has, takes the trust money out of there, and it designated $50 million for affordable housing. So we've applied for coal trust loans and received coal trust loans for both our buildings and both our projects at Twin Creek. This is, even though it looks as one project, and a lot of people won't be able to tell, it's actually two completely separate projects. It's a 9% financed project with 9% LIHTC, and it's a 4% finance project with 4% LIHTC. So because of that coal trust loan, we were able to expand our size of our project. We did that back in August. We secured the LIHTC on 72 units instead of 45 in October. Everything was going great. We started our procurement process for our general contractor, and we had a surprise that was different than what we've been seeing the last couple of years. Our budget numbers and based off of our previous projects are actually pretty good on the construction side. The interest rates on our loans are good, but LIHTC pricing fell significantly from when we started this in 2023 and until the end of 2023. So it was the Friday before Christmas. We got an LOI back from our LIHTC investor who's been on this project for a year, and they said, man, we can't pay the same price that we were going to for those low-income housing tax credits. And we started scrambling. It created a huge gap. You know, as it says in the letter, it created about a $2 million gap, because not only were they going to pay lower pricing, they were going to pay their equity in slower. So we had to go out, We were gonna not get as much equity, and then we had to go out and get a construction loan, which we pay interest on versus LIHTC equity, which we don't. So we've restructured, and now we have two different construction loans, and we already have the terms for those built into the model. And so we've shrunk that $1.2 million gap down, but we still have a big gap, and we need to get $400,000 more in the Helena Housing Trust funds to help as one of the pieces that fills that $1.2 million gap. Michael alluded to it before, but this is a different project than before. It's a way bigger project. So before, when we presented, we said, you know, you're contributing $400,000 and in permanent financing, and you're leveraging that to get 45 units of affordable housing. Now you would be contributing $800,000 to get 72 units of affordable housing. It's about a $24 million total project. So that's another way to look at it, is a very important piece that we need is this last 400,000, but you would be contributing 800,000 out of the total $24 million in sources that are needed for the project. I'm going to share just a little bit. Make sure I can do this. When we presented last time, we had, oh, it says it's disabled. If you can allow me to do that, great. If not, it's okay too. But we do have we're well on our way to having full plans been out. What's that? Still says it's disabled, but we've procured our general contractor. We've completed our DD plans, which is one of the major milestones. You go through schematic plans, then you go through due diligence plans, and you get to construction documents. So we literally just got off a meeting with our general contractor and our architect about where we are and when we're going to have our final construction documents. So we're on track with this project to close and start construction in August, which is what we've been tracking and hoping to do over the last year. But we still need this last piece of financing to fall into place.
Okay. Tyson, we're very excited about your projects. One issue we have, and just a question, I hadn't had a chance to look at the earlier application. You did not have your legal structures at the time of your first application. So you now have two different projects, as you're saying.
Yep.
One challenge we have is that in our stated adopted rules is that we're limited to $400,000 in permanent financing. So I would defer to Ann and Ellie a little bit in terms of how we approach this. I see a couple ways we can go. One, we can just recommend to the city commission that we waive that $400,000 limited in this case. I think we have to think about precedent and everything. This is, the first project we funded, we turned around. Second way is viewing it as they're two different projects, and that we'd be funding the 9% and the 4% each with $400,000. It's not a separate application. So I could see there being some questions on whether that's legit or not, but that's what I'm seeing is that we really have a good news problem in that we went from 45 to 72 units, and at a time when we really need units. So we definitely want, what do we think from your guys' perspective is the best way we could approach this in terms of the city's and the city commission's comfort level?
Can you guys hear me? This is Seth O'Connell.
Yeah.
One issue with that, Michael and Tyson, correct me if I'm wrong. It is an accounting issue for us that if you are technically awarding each of the projects, one of our projects based on Board of Housing's thresholds, would be over leveraged if it took on additional money, right, Ty? Or we would be
Mhm.
over certain thresholds. We looked at that and
Okay.
tried to consider that. Just
On
want to
the
make sure.
9% side.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Sorry, under
9%, it's a weird thing. And again, it almost doesn't, Michael, if it's a great idea, but our 9% project is fully sourced or nearly fully
Okay.
sourced. Our 4% is way short. So we need
Okay.
all $800,000 to
Into
go.
the four. Okay. I'm just really throwing things out here, but
Yeah, and can you see the screen? I'll explain it to everyone. Can you see, because I do,
Yeah.
this is the legal. Okay, so can you all see it?
Yeah.
It's pretty complex when you put these 9 and 4s together. So this dotted line right here, this red line, we're going to use a condo structure, and everything within this condo structure is going to be owned by Twin Creek 9. Except for the top floor here, because we needed those, the top 2 floors, we needed 4 of those units to go into Twin Creek 4. It will look and act like a single project. I mean, when you see it, people will think it's Twin Creek, but we have to, accounting wise, we can't taint the 9% credits by using 4% tax exempt bonds on the project. And we've taken great care and gotten pretty good legal advice and accounting advice to make sure that's the case. So it would be the easiest way, Michael, to do that, but we really need it all to go in. So I think
Okay.
in reading the rules, it does leave some language for an exception. And I know you guys don't want to set precedent, but in this case, we really need the whole $800,000 to go to Twin Creek 4.
sure. So Ellie and Ann, have you had any conversations in terms of can we recommend an exception to the $400,000 limit, reflecting that the projects, the total benefit has greatly increased? Is that something that your guys comfortable with? And I would imagine you might have had some staff conversations on this exact issue.
Chair O'Neill, if you don't mind, while if Ellie has comments, if I can share my screen and pull up the section of the guidelines that does allow for the board
Yeah.
to make modifications to the terms, that might make the board have good information prior to making their decision, if that would be helpful for all
That'd
of
be
you.
great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add beyond what Anna's about to share with you. We have discussed it in-house and are basically going to make deference to this statement on page 8, where it talks about exceptions that can be made under extraordinary conditions. You can see it in the second or the first full paragraph on, oh, and it went away. First full paragraph of page 8 of the guidelines. So, and I don't know if you wanted to talk about that a little bit more. But it just makes plain here that loans may be negotiated for interest rates or term lengths other than the standard loan terms noted above in these extraordinary circumstances, which obviously the situation that UHP seems to find themselves in right now with the LIHTC market and other financing constraints on its face applies in our estimation.
And Chair O'Neill, I would just add that as part of the packet on the website, you do have your underwriting information from NeighborWorks, and they did call out some items that may also not be meeting the current guidelines. As part of that, I think it would be up to you and the board to kind of go through this and how you want to discuss it and decide what your recommendation might be. But as Ellie mentioned, just calling out this section of the guidelines allows you to make that decision if you want to kind of change. And if Tyson and Seth, if you can just confirm for the board that you're not asking for an increase to 1.4 million, it's that you're asking for the same 1 million, but instead of paying back the $600,000 at the end of construction term, which is 3 years, you're looking to pay back the 200 and have the permanent loan be $800,000 instead of the $400,000, which is the current maximum. So you're requesting a change in the terms because of the extraordinary condition. Is that an accurate statement?
That was completely accurate. Yep, the construction source of $1 million still stays the same. We just don't pay back as much because we need $400,000 more in permanent funds to stay in the project. Yep.
Okay. I think that's, yeah, I think in reading that, I wasn't, that the terms include the total amount of the loan. So it would appear that we fully meet the conditions under which we could allow for a, in terms of the loan amount. The permanent loan amount is the thing that's called out here that may not exceed 400,000, but this is an extraordinary circumstance and that all other funding is in hand. Okay, questions on that basic point or thoughts on that one from the committee? Are people comfortable with that idea? And then we'll go to Anne reviewing with us the things in the packet. Any thoughts?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm extremely comfortable with this. I understand the concerns about establishing a precedent. But right now, our next project is a bit of a phantom.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a particular overarching, compelling argument to be made to keep that money out of proper use. And I think this is a proper use. So just
Absolutely.
because it happens to all be bundled into one project does not, to me, create any reason why we wouldn't just do this. This looks like a great venture for the city.
And I would lead in any staff memo recommendation to the commission that we really see this almost as an additional project because of the growth in the number of units that will be serving Helena. So I think from that perspective, we have that as well. In addition to the extraordinary emergency situation, we have it. We're almost getting another project. We are getting another project out of it. Any other comments on just the comfort level of using that provision to allow for a larger? Go ahead, Riley.
Coming into this meeting, I didn't realize that they weren't actually asking for additional funds. They were just simply transferring the construction loan over to the permanent loan. So understanding that now, I'm actually entirely on board, kind of echoing John's statement that, currently we don't have any other projects on the books. So I would prefer to see this money moved instead of just, sitting and wallowing in the fund. And, even kind of looking into some of NeighborWorks kind of underwriting comments in terms of operating expenses per unit. I mean, heck, since we wrote those guidelines, construction costs have ballooned by about 40%, I'd imagine. So it's not entirely surprising to see those costs have risen.
Can I ask a question about the terms on the NeighborWorks Montana underwriting? So on their loan request permanent and loan request construction, do the changes in their chart reflect what we're talking about? It seems like maybe on loan request construction, that is not correct.
And can you bring that up for us?
Just one moment. April's got it up, ready to go. The NeighborWorks memo.
Specifically in the construction portion under loan terms where it says interest only for 18 years.
So I think it's one more page down, correct?
Yeah. The bottom of page 2 and then the beginning of page 3. I just want to be sure I'm clear on the terms that we're requesting.
That does look incorrect. The construction would be too low.
Would be 200,000, you mean?
No,
I
the
just, I don't think
original,
we're lending $800,000 for 18 years interest only, right?
Yeah. No, you are on the perm, not on the,
Yeah.
not on the construction, you're lending $1 million, and that does say, I've not seen this yet. You're lending $1 million on the construction, and it's a 3-year term. We then, as soon as we're done with the project, we'll pay that off with the LIHTC equity, and then you'll
Great.
do a separate loan for $800,000 for an 18-year term interest. That's the permanent loan.
Perfect. Yeah, I wanted to get some of that interest only money repaid so we can loan it out again if we have another project within 18 years.
Chair O'Neill, so what I can do is ask NeighborWorks to re-clarify. I wonder if they also took it as a new full request with that, but that it would go back to what the original underwriting was on the original project, which is the 3 years. So I can get them to redo that and send it out to folks to make sure if you want to see those specific dollar numbers.
Let's see if people can be comfortable without, time is certainly a challenge on being able to move forward on this. I think I think the fact that let's talk a little bit about so the loan terms would be 1%, but the interest would be paid at the end of the term. Am I reading that right?
I mean, the way we have it modeled, and just so everybody knows, we have to have enough cash flow coming in. We have to have enough cash coming in after paying our expenses to pay our debt. So after we have modeled this as $800,000 interest only each year. So we only have to pay an $8,000 payment because we don't have any extra, we don't have extra cash on the project. At the end of the term, we then take the tax credit investor out. This is very typical in a LIHTC deal. And we usually refinance the project and then we pay back the balloon payment for the Helena Housing Trust funds at that point. So, but you would not, to be clear, you would not have $800,000 until that 18-year term is done. You'd only have a little bit of the interest only payments each year. And that's what we had originally. I mean, that part hasn't changed.
The 400,000 was.
Yeah, the 400,000 was structured the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It looks like couple things got messed up here in this, but it's very close to. We have $1 million construction loan for 3 years. As soon as we're done with that, we keep $800,000. It's not really keep. We refinance that $800,000 into a permanent loan with an 18-year term that has an annual interest only payment.
Chair, so if I may, to address part of Stephanie's question as well.
Yeah.
A different way of stating it is that back into the trust fund account to be available for the board to recommend commission approval of other projects at the end of 3 years would be $200,000 would come back in that could be available for other projects at the end of that 3 years instead of the 600,000 that was going to be there, but that those other funds will be available at the end of the 18 years, including then the interest payments that come in as well would be available, but the large chunk of funds to be available for the board to recommend other projects would be $200,000 would be coming back in at the end of 3 years. So then it would be available for you all.
Comments, thoughts on that, folks?
I don't think we need the NeighborWorks to fix their underwriting sheet necessarily. That's just an addition to our documents, as long as the city is clear on in the minutes of what the terms are and they're doing the loan docs for us. So that's fine with me.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. I would, do you want to scroll down at all more, Ann, on, anything else you want to highlight before we seek a motion?
Sorry, I don't have mouse control of that, but April just scrolled it down for you. And I think just for staff to know what the board's thoughts are in a motion, what you've all been discussing is that if as a board, you're recommending to the commission to basically just change the dollar amount of what would become their permanent loan. And in this case, you're willing to look at changes to the terms in the guidelines. Ellie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would be enough of a recommendation that you're recommending the commission change the dollar amount outside of the guidelines, as it's not increasing their total award they already approved. Would that be correct, Ellie?
That's my understanding.
And so any of the terms that's different than our guidelines is allowed under the provision where we're authorized to make those recommendations for a fully funded project. That's kind of an extraordinary circumstances. And in this case, we're seeing positive growth in number of units. I think makes that pretty comfortable. And some of these other concerns, I think, listed, well, not necessarily as concerns, but that there is still a little wiggle room in the pro forma to make it work. And you know, it's always until things are done, it's, you know, costs and things can shift. And so there's a little higher vacancy rate, little higher reserve. That's all to the good, I think. Any additional questions at this time from any of the members of the board?
If you would give me a moment, Chair O'Neill, to pull up one other thing, I do want to double check that the original terms, if that's going to be a phrase you use in your motions, I think the original term on that was not interest only. So let me just double check.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, so the interest only provision would be authorized under the section of our guidelines where we're authorized to make modifications to loan terms.
And if anybody has any other questions on that, I'm happy to answer them. I just ran the numbers at $800,000. It would take us below, when you look at all our other debt on the project, it would take us below, would take us down to about a 1.0 debt service coverage ratio, because the payment would be so much higher. And there isn't any other way to make, you know, to bring additional cash into the project. So once it goes to 800,000, we definitely need it to be interest only.
Chair O'Neill, just for comparison, I don't know if it's helpful, but the chart I just put up on the screen is what was the previous underwriting document. So it's different units, different dollar amount now, but you can see that the construction was the one that was interest only and the permanent was not. So that's where your dollar numbers change with what he just mentioned about the other request.
Any additional comments, questions from the board? We'd, Stephanie, are you?
Yeah, I'm talking on mute.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
I was just gonna say, this is a great project and I'm thrilled that we're being invited to participate. I just want to be sure the board realizes that the majority of our money will be gone for 18 years. So this basically becomes not a revolving trust fund after this, unless we get more money, which is great. We should, but
I would default to the city stepping up to refund it. And I would, rather than, the purpose of the money is not to have money in the fund, it's to build
Right.
housing. And so we will be
exactly.
building additional units. And so knowing how hard that is at this stage, of what we're living through right now, I think it's in 75 units or 72 units is going to go a long way to helping us. And actually it really hits almost every income below 70%, which of median. So really will be serving a lot of different types of affordable housing needs. So I would encourage. Go ahead, John.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Okay.
What is the current capacity of the fund right now?
So when, Chair O'Neill, sorry, when the board opened up the most recent application cycle for which we did not receive any applications, so your next agenda item will be looking at a spring one. There was just under $1 million left, not counting the $1 million for this project. So whether that's another 72 units or if it's more of a 54 units that another applicant could come in with, there is still just under half of what you had originally left. So very close to $1 million. And then in 3 years, that other $200,000 will come back.
So to Stephanie's original point, I mean, we're going down by 40% of, I would say, the fund's capacity, given the numbers we're looking at, which honestly, I mean, I think over an 18-year term might be, I mean, I don't know how many more projects we're going to see. But as I mentioned earlier, I think utilizing the money now is far better than letting it sit.
Agreed.
Mr. Chair, if I might add one brief comment.
Yes, John, go ahead.
I think it makes it a lot easier for the city to refund or to add funds to this fund if they have demonstrable success to look at.
Yeah.
So I think
Fair.
we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if the city sees its way to agreeing with us and can come up in their budget with more money, we'll continue to do the right thing at a higher level as the city allows. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think the city is very interested in seeing housing on the ground. And that I'm not a prophet, but I would say we'd have at least 4-1 vote in favor of this. So I think we can, I would encourage a motion in support of this if someone wanted to make a motion.
I'll motion to recommend.
I'm happy to second
Just
that.
to finish out that motion, just to recommend as
I'll-
presented.
I'll motion to recommend of the city commissioners to approve the project
As presented in our meeting today.
as presented in our meeting today. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, versus the packet. Yeah. All right. Do we have a second? Thank you, Riley. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Very good. Thanks, John. All right, been moved in second. Any additional discussion? All righty. All righty. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Passes unanimously. Tyson and Seth, thank you for your efforts to keep at it and keep swinging. And we're very excited to see the project move forward. We'll be there at the ground if you have a groundbreaking, but more importantly, we'll be there when you have the ribbon cutting.
We'll do both, Michael. We greatly appreciate the support from this board. Thank you very much.
Thank
It's a
you.
very important part, and we're really happy. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. All righty. All righty. Next up on our agenda is our proposed spring application cycle.
Are you all able to see
Yes.
the Word document? I just did what we did last time where I kind of gave you some choices, but we can play with the numbers, whatever you want. I think, I guess the O'Connells already left, but hearing from them or anyone else, if 8 weeks and 6 weeks is enough for a project of this size for applications, I think would be helpful to know for all of you in trying to decide. I know we didn't have any fall applications. I noticed that that was also the case before I started, so I don't know if spring is better timing for going before the Board of Housing for the larger amounts of funds for the LIHTC. Some of that, Chair O'Neill, you might be able to talk about address as
so we
well,
have
but here are
March-
some options.
Yeah, so if it's March 1st, I think the Board of Housing letter of intent letters are, let's pull that up. So
I think it was July, but now I can't remember. I
I
apologize.
think the initial letters of intent, I think, are in May. Schedules.
Typically it is May. I don't think that they have deviated from that schedule for,
In that QAP, I mean, that's, you have that handy, Ellie?
pull it up.
Uh,
If I can pull it up.
Allocation plan. It will be in the 2025 allocation plan, yes. That says, that's your intent and applications.
No, they haven't.
They haven't established the timelines, so we have to go back to, we've pretty much been consistent. So let's see when.
Yeah, they haven't updated their website for 1.5 to 2 years, unfortunately. They've been busy.
So the letter of intent submission is the second Monday in April. The applicant presentation to apply based on those letter of intents the decision would be made at most likely the May board meeting of the Board of Housing. The final packets, full application submission would be the first Monday in August. And the final award determination would be at the October board meeting. And that's pretty consistent with what has been the case. And so the difference between spring and fall is really just recognizing on our end, depending on the type of project. Remember, these could be home ownership deals too, or something, but in terms of any larger multifamily rental project, in the spring, one of two things would be happening. Either someone would have been awarded tax credits in the fall and that they'd be coming to us in the spring. And we know that isn't the case in the Helena area this year. So we'd be looking forward to next year. And so there would be, so an applicant would come in and they'd be primarily proposing a financing structure that would be, we would have to examine that their assumptions are reasonable. And so they would probably saying, that they would be applying for 9% and 4% tax credits or just 9% tax credits. And with this schedule, and that they might be also considering some other funding sources, and that they'd be presenting, they would have to present us with the recognition these things change, as we earlier discussed, as they go from application to final construction is a long road. But I think this will work well, that they wouldn't have our ruling until I lost our schedule. Where did our
Sorry,
schedule-
just one moment. So for a spring cycle, given the current time estimates for underwriting for a project and getting before the commission, it's gonna be July when the commission would meet, depending on how long you wanna have the application cycle open.
Okay. So that would
So it'd be
allow,
June for the board.
the a project, if awarded funding and it was a tax credit application, to have the city's funding fully recognized in the decision making for the final application going in August. And so just to refresh our memories, one of the benefits, I think we refer to it as skin in the game, but I don't know if I like that saying at all, but the idea being that we know that these funds are not, are significant in the sense that they show a community investment in the project. And so that, I think, helps us in our competitiveness statewide. Just keep in mind, stay on the 9%, and that's what the 9% is what this structure of meetings with the Board of Housing is about. That not every city is doing what we're doing here. It's putting some local dollars past. I think more of them are doing it. But that will help the competitiveness of any Helena project. So I think the March 1st, we will probably want to get the word out, send maybe a release this week, given today's the 21st. Let's make sure that people are aware of the applications coming out. And I myself can't think of projects that are necessarily locked and loaded. As I previously said, we will be coming forward with significant projects, but it won't be this cycle. We being the Helena Housing Authority.
So if it's helpful to all of you looking at this big page of dates and things, really the basic difference is whether or not you want to have applicants have 6 weeks or 8 weeks to be available, and whether or not you have a preference about whether or not you mind changing your May meeting date. Those are basically the two changes. Because of how the commission schedule works, we'll probably be taking it to the same commission meeting either way.
And this currently reflects 8 weeks, correct?
I
Or the
think
option 1's 8 weeks, option 2.
option 1 is 8 weeks, option 2 is 6 weeks, and I believe for the fall one, you actually had it open for 9.5, I think, because of the holidays. I think we ended up having it open a little bit longer.
And I just want to note for the record that the The second option, option 2, is, I don't want to say it's impossible for the city, otherwise we wouldn't put it forward, but administratively, just getting this to the commission after a board hearing, that doesn't leave technically enough time for us. So we'd be shoehorning it in. It'd be very, very tight.
Well, I will let them get in contact with you. Sorry.
So option 1 would be workable, Ellie, for you? Yes,
I'm just looking, sorry, Michael, I'm just looking at the dates here. I mean, both actually present the
same problem.
same problem. And I'm sure, Michael, you've been around the block, you've seen what we have to deal with, but we have to work back in normal times 3 weeks from the date of a commission meeting. To get
So do we, can we,
everything.
how can we fix that? Can we shorten our,
If it's helpful for everyone, I did highlight the commission dates, knowing that it's the end of the fiscal year and budget time and a variety of other things, so that if you all want to pick your schedule, then the actual dates it would go before commissions would be around then, but we could potentially push it out to the August, just so
No,
that they
well,
would
let's
have
be
an answer
clear.
by October.
we will have undercut our Helena advantage if we do not have our decision. If there is a project that's a tax credit project, we want it to be funded in advance of the August application deadline.
And you know, Michael, I just want to scrap everything I said. I apparently can't read critically today. Don't forget everything I said. I'm rereading this and seeing the different steps here, and actually this is workable in either instance. I think it's just a question of how much time you want to give to the public.
And should we, would we agree as a board that giving applicants more time is better than less time?
I would agree.
So should we act on, would someone like to make a motion on option 1?
I'm happy to move that we approve option 1 for our spring cycle.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Been moved and seconded. We will adopt option 1 schedule for our spring cycle and get the word out accordingly. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same? All righty. Very good. So we pulled the schedule down. So our next meeting will be, Anne, what were you suggesting for next meeting dates? The March 13th?
Chair, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you could call for public comment first.
Yes, please.
You
Oh,
don't
thank
mind?
you. That's very good. Public comment, we'd welcome public comment at this time on anything not on the agenda. Okay. Hearing none, we'll close public comment.
And Chair O'Neill, I don't see anyone raising their hand from the public trying to make a comment, so I think we're okay with the online attendees as well.
Do we have online attendees? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not aware.
So, Michael, the way that the webinar works, only Anne or myself can allow an attendee to speak.
Okay,
When it comes to public comment, we'll just ask people to raise their hands online and
okay.
then allow them to speak. But right now, I'm not seeing any hands raised. We have
We're at a disadvantage. Can you, just for our board members' sake, can we, yeah, I didn't want to short circuit public comment. I was just unaware there were any public out there. This is a new format for us. How many members of the public do we have joining us today?
We have 2.
2. Very good. Excellent. All righty. Again, I think I cut that off prematurely. Is there any public comment at this time? Last call for public comment.
Say Dr. G or Patricia, if you would like to make public comment, go ahead and raise your hand now. If not, we'll move on. We have no hands raised, Michael.
Very good. We'll close public comment then. Very good. Next on the agenda, anything from members of the board, proposals for our next agenda? Any other info to be shared? Very good. Alrighty. I think we good here. And then so the next scheduled meeting is March 13th at 2 p.m. People want to check, see if there's any conflict with that.
And Chair O'Neill, if I may, while
Yeah.
people are checking, that's just what would be our normally scheduled meeting. And so it'll be not quite 2 weeks after the opening of the spring cycle. So I don't know that we'd have any applications, but we may have entities calling, asking questions. If you would be interested in an update of anything we know, but at that point, we probably won't have any actual full applications to report on.
Right.
And as a reminder, following the last review, the board did go through the review process. So that is set for spring. So it would just be if you think there's any items that the board would
Can you
like
put
to
up that
discuss.
timeline again for the option 1 timeline? Could you put that up for us?
Can you all see that?
So I'd put it to the board. Do we want to do we feel need to meet as a board prior to this next round of funding applications coming in? So which would mean we wouldn't be meeting until after the until June 12th. I don't know if folks are more just as a recognition of people's schedules are busy. What are folks thinking? What would they prefer?
I mean, I'm fine until June 12th. I'm not entirely sure what needs discussing prior to that date.
Would anyone like to meet prior to June 12th? Either on the March date or we could. I think a lot of what we can we may want to, you know, as long as annual, keep us updated as to progress in terms of applicants, and we will know by April 26th. You can send us a notice of how many applications came in.
I would be happy to give that update to everyone.
Please note that the option 1 has incorporated a two-day meeting schedule if needed. You know, we adopted that on our first round and with the thought that we would be overwhelmed with applications, but we know that that's a little more challenging. But that's there for us, and so are people comfortable with the June 12th deadline for the next meeting? Now, did we want to change that June 12th to make it less arduous on city staff, or we don't think that will be a major problem since you have to submit your paperwork on the 13th?
I will just say that some of these dates might be more flexible. I want you to know it was based on the current timeline that we've been told from NeighborWorks. They were currently at a 15 business day turnaround. So I used that and padded it a little bit with a couple of days here and there. And also used the kind of request recommendation from the board that we did last time, which was please give us more than just a weekend to review everything.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also taking into account that we want any documents up on our, on the board's website a week prior to the meeting, is typically what we do so the public can review those meeting materials as well. So we can definitely make some changes. We can also, just for your reference, there's a July 15th regular commission meeting and there's a July 29th one.
Again, I think
But that's
if
real
we're
close to the August
August
letters.
deadline, since, yeah. So, I mean, they could work with that. The July 15th, I would say let's try to shoot for. Give them plenty of time to, because what it does is that they would have to have time to make any adjustments, whether they were funded or not funded.
And while it may or may not be helpful at this point to mention, it might be something we want to look at going into, you know, the later part of this year is setting a schedule, a spring schedule earlier and maybe having it open in the middle of February. Just to give applicants more time if they're trying to apply for LIHTC in the same year. You know, if the board thinks
Sure.
that's there, that's easy enough for us to
Yeah.
pick any opening date. I just picked the first of the next month.
It's you know, the LIHTC is a little more, it's been consistent. What's the other funding sources have been kind of all over the place of late, when they're going to be funding. So, so just so we can wrap this up, so the board is comfortable with our next meeting date being June 12th? Okay. Okay. Very good. That's okay. Do we need a motion? Yeah, let's make a motion of that if we would, just so that we formally change the next meeting date.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to move that our next meeting date is June 12th.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of the June 12th being the next meeting date, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed, the same? No. Alrighty, okay, we have that. I had one question, just administrative question in terms of we have a financial services slot available on this board. Is that being actively solicited for applications, or what's the process for that?
So I know that the clerk's office is advertising those open positions. They're advertised on the website. I have not heard so far that we have gotten an application. If you know someone in the financial services sector that may be interested, please encourage them to apply. And that application is found on the city's website. And there's a link to it. But to my knowledge, we have not had an applicant for that seat yet.
So please encourage friends in the financial lending industry and such to make application. Alrighty. Anything? I think we've covered the agenda. I don't have that in front of me any longer. We can move to adjourn the meeting.
That's the next item for you.
Okay. All right. Shall we do that? Amen.
so moved.
Yes. All right. So it'll be spring. With summary next time we see each other. So see you all soon. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.